Welcome to the Soul Navigators Podcast. I'm Dr. MonaLisa Coburn, and each week we explore the living wisdom of one consciousness through grounded, soul-led conversations. The themes we explore are inspired by my book, The Joy of One Consciousness, but this space goes far beyond the pages into real-life application, healing, and awakening. So take a breath, settle into your heart, and let's begin today's journey together. Hello, welcome back. I'm MonaLisa, and Kati and I have an exciting guest today, so we're very excited, and it is Cynthia Kirshman. We are here with, I'm going to let Cynthia, she is a healer, and so I'm going to let her describe what she does and who she is, and tell us some of your backstory and how you got into this crazy business of healing.
Well, hi. Thank you, guys. I want to thank you for having me on. I'm really excited to be here. So I got into this work. Really, I would say it's probably a combination of many, many years of roller coastering. And just, trying to find my own purpose and trying to do my own personal healing, until I got to the point where I got into sound healing and really found a great passion there. And that kind of just sort of led me down this spiral, got into hypnosis and energy work, and it's just been so transformational for me in my life. And I've always been passionate about, trying to help others. And this has been really a lifelong path that I think I've been working towards. And so I'm really excited that I am finally here, I feel like.
So what, can you give us a couple stories, examples of that roller coaster ride, and then how it kind of started to smooth out as you started in that sound healing?
Yeah, definitely. So, like many people, I mean, I grew up in kind of a rough household. It was a kind of a lonely existence, I would say. I ended up getting into drugs at a very young age. And I ended up kind of not long after that, I had a lot of health issues. I had a lot of pain, a lot of physical pain. And really, I ended up getting addicted to drugs, alcohol, which kind of led me down this path of recovery at a pretty early age, I would say. And it really taught me the importance of growth, personal growth. And the pain was something that I experienced for many, many years. I experienced a lot of physical pain, and other, depression, anxiety, all kinds of other things that go along with that, right?
Right.
And really, it was, I think, kind of one of the turning points for me was when I did I did a quantum healing hypnosis session several years back. And one of the reasons I did this was because I wanted to find my purpose in life. I'd always felt like I'm here for a reason, and I just didn't know what that was. I couldn't figure out what that was. So it's kind of been this thing that I was just desperately searching for. So I did this hypnosis session, and in this session, you tap into your subconscious and your higher self, and the message I got was that I would be teaching people to overcome their fears. And at the time, I thought at least afterwards, when I listened to the session afterwards, I thought, that's crazy. I don't even know how to overcome my own fears at this time, and I kind of put it out of my mind, like that, just whatever, right? And after I had gotten into, several years later, after I got into sound healing and hypnosis myself, I started learning hypnosis.
Wait. You're going so fast. So after you got into sound healing, so our audience may not know what sound healing. So can you, whatever sound healing, there's multiple, share a method that you use to help heal yourself with the sound healing.
Yeah, that really was the turning point. I probably should have started there. So I had done some research on sound healing. I wanted to know more about it. And I was just kind of drawn to it. And I started studying some of the research that had been done. And one of the things that I discovered in doing that was that it had incredible potential, but there was three components that are necessary for sound healing in particular to be effective, and it can be effective for all kinds of things, right? They were using it in tests for dementia, and pain relief, all kinds of things. But the three things that were necessary was vibration, um, what is it? Vibration, frequency, and intention. So, which is also very similar to
healing work. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so these three things were necessary. So I started doing, meditation with binaural beats, I guess, to get that frequency, and I would do the humming for the vibration. And when I started doing this, I felt just almost immediately transformed. I felt like I could do anything. It was really empowering for me, just that one simple thing. And so it really just kind of evolved from there. But obviously, a lot of people use it for, they use singing bowls, whatever there's a number of different methodologies you can use with sound healing. But so what I like to use in particular is I do the binaural beats with some humming, and I set an intention. It's very important that we set that intention of what it is that we are working towards, or trying to heal, or a focus, a manifestation, what it is we're trying to manifest. So so that was really the turning point for me. So anyway, after I had gone through that and sort of working on that more, it became real clear to me that
I'm going to pause you just for a second, because we have a question. What are some challenges you have overcome at the beginning of your healing practice? So this audience member it came in slightly late. It was that you had a really, you said, give it to me all with your depression and your either alcohol or drugs, because you had an addiction problem. And so you signed up for it. So you really did. But isn't it beautiful how Source works, that you signed up for all that and it led you exactly where you needed to go to get here today? I love that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just been literally one thing at a time. I mean, with this kind of work, there is no, one magic pill that's going to cure everything, right? It's one step at a time. We deal with one little thing at a time, and it kind of gradually builds, and what I've found is with each, I kind of look at them as like programs, or patterns in my life. So, when I was dealing with one in particular situation, like, a feeling of unworthiness, I might deal with that particular issue, and then it sort of evolves. So it's definitely been a gradual process, but it's with each one that I remove, with each program that I remove or heal, I find myself becoming more free, more authentic, more you, just joyful, more me, more happy, right? And that's what we all seek. And it's just been amazing. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm just super passionate about this work, because I believe it can help so many people with so many different things. There's so many areas that we can apply this to, and that really is the powerful thing about it.
So you're a quantum healer, which means you do energy work. So you want to describe maybe some of the patterns that you help people heal, so they know if they start heading your way?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, it can be really, you can apply these these principles and these modalities, these healing modalities, to all kinds of things. I've worked with people on depression or anxiety. Really, I think we come to some in particular issue that they might be dealing with, and you kind of work it back and work to the root of what started that issue, right? But it's sort of an evolving process also. But I also do hypnosis with NLP. So hypnosis can also be used for a wide variety of different things. I really like it for goals, for achieving our goals. Because we essentially can kind of go in and reprogram our brain the way we want it to be working, right? To what we want to be focusing on. Because we get stuck in these thinking patterns, right? Of I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, and it really helps us to kind of reprogram our thinking, and that can be so powerful, so powerful.
Well, I have a question. May I? So along those lines, because we all come to this place eventually at some point, regardless, of how you signed up, whether you make the left turn or the right turn, you're going to spiral up or spiral down at some point. But when you're in that place, it's really hard to recognize which way you're supposed to go, why you're there. You just become like this ball of confusion sometimes. So what role do you think intuition plays in healing, and how can people learn to trust their inner knowing more deeply so it helps them make that decision?
Oh, that's an excellent question. And, for me personally, I think I've always been very trusting of my intuition and my gut. And I personally believe that our intuition is what is sort of that real guiding force, our higher self, or whatever it is, our path is supposed to be.
I do want our listeners that are new to this to understand that you're absolutely 100% correct. But I always like to remind people, if it's negative, that's not the intuition we're talking about. That's the monkey mind. That's your physical mind. If it's the intuition that's positive, if it's the intuition, and it could be anything positive, it could be very neutral, right? But no one's going to get harmed. And that intuition, and also it is part of our feminine selves that a lot of people, including me, before I was awake, I was taught not to listen to your intuition. That's just girl stuff, really. So I was shut down. I mean, I was closed, curtains, right? And so I was one of those that swords kept on hitting with, I want to say with the hammer, and they got bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So because I didn't know how to listen, I had shut it off, and I was so lost in the masculine part of me that said, okay, I have to figure out with the mind. I have to listen to the mind. I have to do that to-do list. I'm stuck here. What kind of list can I make to get to C? If I'm stuck at A, how do I figure? I wanted to figure out with my brain what B was to get to C. And you guys want to take the slow route? Keep using that brain. If you want to take the fast route, do exactly what Cynthia is saying. Follow the intuition from the heart space. That's key. Follow that intuition. Intuition from the heart, it is where we have electromagnetic fields. So this isn't just us woo-woo girls talking. This is scientifically proven. We have electromagnetic field of the heart, and it extends far, far greater than our little minds do. And so when you listen to the intuition from the heart, it's going to take you the quickest route, the quickest road. It's going to drive you to your goals the quickest. The quickest way is through that heart. I just wanted our listeners, in case someone's new, to be aware of that. It's the intuition from the heart.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think everybody can learn how to recognize, I guess, the language of our intuition and really the language of our body as well. I believe that a lot of this healing work is about learning to listen to our bodies and recognizing that, when there's a problem in our life, it often manifests in our physical body, in our physical reality, right? It's
Always. It's a mirror. Physical reality is a mirror. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Right. And and a lot of times it's very symbolic as well. I firmly believe that life as a whole is very symbolic. The experiences we have are symbolic. There's something is happening for a reason. It's happening because there's something to be learned. And like you were saying, yeah, that's a lot of times that's going to take you that quickest, most direct route for growth. It may be a painful direct route. But yeah, there's always something to learn there, from those experiences, even though sometimes they might seem bad or they might seem not so clear or great or whatever. But I do believe that.
And I want people to understand, those of us who sit in our heart space the majority of the time, we still have life lessons. So I forgot what it was, but it was about 6 months ago. I asked my higher self let's just pretend, because I don't remember exactly right now, do I go left or right? And I'm pretty sure she told me which direction to go. And I went that way. And I'm like, there's no way. I must have it all wrong, because there was a lesson there. And she's like, you had to learn your lesson. Right? You signed up for soul lessons, and there was something that I hadn't got at the soul level, at the heart level. And so it wasn't a very pretty time, but I learned it really quick, because that's where I'm at now. It was like, oh yeah, I can see how if I'm my spirit, that I'm going to go ahead and throw the hard stuff at me now, so I can learn my lessons really quick and get back on the road. So,
yeah, and that can be very, very difficult for some people. And I, my heart goes out to people that have experienced some really horribly traumatic things in their life. And I don't mean to diminish any of that, because, I can't speak to anyone in particular who experiences something traumatic and what that might possibly mean for them or why they had to go through that. But my personal belief is that absolutely we unfortunately do have to go through difficult things to grow in this life, and that's just kind of what this experience is about. However difficult that may be, that's what we signed up for.
Yeah. One of the things that is coming up for me right now, especially with those people that are just being introduced to some of this stuff. We do sign on for these lessons a long time ago, and maybe they get it, maybe they don't. And we experience these things that, don't always come like a fun time at honey ticket for Disneyland or anything like that. But I think also the being able to let go of some of that control and handing it over, like being okay. And that's a very difficult thing to do in the beginning with all of this, especially because you are trying to figure out, wait a minute, what's my journey? What am I learning? What is this lesson? And, some people don't want to experience all of it. They want to experience a little of it. And so learning how to let it go and release yourself and be open for healing and be open to receive that healing is a tough journey in itself.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I would like to make one other quick point here, if I may. We haven't really talked too much about manifestation and how we do create our own reality. And I do think that is an important point as well, because I have known many people who they get stuck in that thinking of life is horrible, bad things always happen to me, and there is a huge degree of self-inflicted harm that we can do to ourselves when we continually think those negative patterns. And so if you are one of those people that feels like the world is always against you, I would strongly invite you to look into and do some more research about manifestation and the law of attraction, and how our thinking truly does create the life that we are living. So that is
really, really quickly. I just let our audience know, since you brought it up, Cynthia. So the law of manifestation basically is our frequency that we vibrate out is what is back. So what is our frequency? It includes feelings, thoughts, action, words, deeds. Okay. So we create a frequency. So if we create the frequency of victimhood, okay, the mirror is going to shine back to us things that like we might, someone might steal from us, because that's the vibration we're putting out. And so that's what Cynthia is talking about. The law of manifestation is far, far greater than thoughts, words, and deeds. So it is everything that we are. So we are energetic beings. People talk about the aura. The easiest way you can think of it as your aura. Your aura is always putting a frequency out. That's how Source, all that there is, knows what to deliver back to us. And so, and it's hard, just like Cynthia and Kati said, to get that train turned around. So that's what we're talking about with this healing work. Ridding of patterns. And so if Cynthia, if you want to give us a couple examples of maybe of a healing that you've done for someone, so someone can get a real feel for like what you've actually, someone you've healed. Not to quote, it doesn't have to be anything miracle, but just a general healing that you've actually done. Maybe there's an experience that stands out in your head or your heart you want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I really like to kind of also talk about my own personal experiences as well. But
that's fine. That's fine. Whatever you want. Yeah.
But yeah, actually, now I'm kind of drawing a blank now that I got put on the spot. But I mean, patterns, I tend to think of, like we talk about, like we can get stuck in a pattern of thinking. So like,
you say negative patterns. Can you want to use that one?
Yeah. So like, for many years, I actually thought of myself, I was very much afraid to be seen, to be heard, and even just being here today, I think is a huge example of how I have been able to overcome that pattern. So there's really kind of a number of different ways.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Now I'm
No, I think we all have our own individual patterns that we set up for ourselves on the other side until we get the lesson. If it's negative, those are the ones we want to learn to grow and let them go. So, for instance, someone suffering from anxiety, for some people, it's very, very difficult to end that anxiety cycle, right? And so that's what energetic work can do. It can help you in that cycle by getting you to think toward the positive, toward the good, versus that negative cycle. So what do you want to talk a little bit more about your favorite type of healing that you do?
And MonaLisa, we're at that 425 mark. Sorry, Cynthia. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Yeah, well, like I really like doing the hypnosis because I really feel like we can kind of go in and reprogram our brains a little bit, but we can also access our higher truth. So one example of this would be there was something that kind of also back to your other question, a gal that I worked on before, who she was kind of stuck in a pattern in her life. Her spouse that she was with was abusive, and she was having trouble seeing it. She didn't even recognize it. And this was obviously something that I had no idea she was dealing with. But she wanted some clarity on what path to choose in her future. Like, she was ultimately trying to decide whether to stay with him or not. But she really wasn't saying that. She wasn't speaking those words because it wasn't that clear to her yet what it was she needed. She just knew she needed to make a change. So we did a hypnosis session, and in this session, she was able to see like the direction that her life was going, and it made it clear to her what was actually happening. She was able to see her life from a different perspective. And I really believe that is a huge part of this work. It's about finding a new perspective on our reality, seeing things from a higher perspective. And that's exactly what she did. And it was very shortly after that, I can't tell you exactly how long, but she reached out to me not long after that session, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I realized what was happening, and that my husband was abusing our children. And this was very traumatic and difficult for her. She was not able to see that this was happening." Then I was able to kind of help and work with her, and she ended up leaving
that's a beautiful,
this man. But
beautiful,
really powerful story. But it just kind of goes to show that how we get stuck in these patterns of denial. Because it's too painful for us to sometimes see the truth. And that's a very, very common problem for us.
Yes. Well, humans think of your daily, everyone can think of their daily habits. We love our patterns. We do. Even if they're negative, they're comfortable. Sometimes they're cozy like a blanket, but it's a blanket we need to get rid of, right? So, Cynthia, can you just tell our audience how they can get a hold of you, where to find you, and a little more about, so you offer quantum healing and hypnosis, is that correct? If not, correct me and you take it. Go ahead and let them know where to get hold of you.
Yeah, thank you. So my business is called Quantized Healing and Transformation. So you can find me at www.quantized, Quantized, it's on the screen there, healing.com. And I do both private sessions and Zoom. So you can do specifically hypnosis, or in my private sessions here in Kansas City. I incorporate sound healing in the session because like I said, I believe very much in the power of sound healing, and it also helps us get into that hypnotic state very quickly. And it just adds to the relaxation. But yeah, and then I'm also going to be doing classes via Zoom and here in Kansas City as well. So if you follow me on my website, and you can also find me on other social media platforms, I will be advertising those classes as they come up. But my goal ultimately is to also help teach people how to learn how to heal themselves, because this work is not just something that we have to go get healing from people over and over and over again. I believe firmly that we all have the ability to heal ourselves. And that's really what this is about. This is us healing ourselves and us. So sometimes as practitioners, I think all we're really doing is just, helping people find that new perspective. And really that's what this is about for me. And that's what I'm super passionate about is helping people find that healing and that new perspective on life.
Yeah, so, I think Katie and I can totally agree to that. Totally agree. I just wrote a book on that, The Joy of One Consciousness. So it's all about self-healing. So Katie, do you have any other questions or any comments you'd like to say?
Oh my goodness. You've covered so much, which is fabulous. And just learning where you're coming from. I think as we do here too, when we hear that, I think it just helps you to connect or help our listeners or someone who's especially in that particular place connect with you, because they're like, oh, wait a minute. She does this. She did this too. She was in this place. I can do this too. So it is a very positive connection that you have. And it's fabulous. And I thank you so much for being here. I think she's answered all the questions that I had for her, but I can come up with more if you like.
Well, I wanted to make sure she got her full 30 minutes in. So we're going to transition now to the second part. But I really want to make sure, Cynthia, that I didn't cut you off. Is there anything else we'd like to add before we transition?
All I wanted to do is just thank you both very much for having me. This has been really fun and a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of your show and what you have, the message you are able to bring in for us.
Oh, well, I'm too, because, I'm always like, sometimes you guys, it's kind of funny. I'm like, I have no idea what they're going to say. And sometimes it takes, I want to say me, not them, guts to just go blank, right? And see what comes out of my mouth. So, anyway,
it's always good stuff.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff on love and light and love. And so, anyway, I know that they're here. And I'm just going to go ahead and close my eyes and take a few deep breaths and let them come in, and I'll let them introduce themselves more. Hello, 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 dear ones. We are Xand. We are pleased to be here and to dance with you in this now through all realities. Yes, who are we? We are over what you would consider 100,000 angels strong. And who are these angels? We are angels in 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th density. We come as a collective of one, as a collective of the one consciousness, as a collective of the infinite creator, of the collective of source energy, of all that there is. That is who we are. And we would also like to add, we are you. We are other yous. So if time and space had brought you here, if time and space has took you here to this moment, then we are a reflection of you, dear ones. This is how source energy works. And so we would like to say, we have our own energy, which is all a part of the reflection of source energy. And we come in the highest regard of love and light and love. That is who we are. If we had one message, just one message for all of you, it would always be about love. It would always be about to love yourself, to love every moment you're in everything you do. Do it with love, with great love. Everything you do, including yourself, love yourself. It's always about love. It's always about doing the smallest things and the greatest things and everything in between with that frequency of love. For it is the frequency of love that many of you on this earth think you might know what love is, but unconditional love, love that has no boundaries, love that has no limits, love that is beyond limits. This is the love that we're here to teach, to share, And so do all things with great love.
Thank you, Xand. I have a question that has just popped out at me today very strongly for our listeners. And that question is, are ancestral patterns and generational traumas encoded in our energy field? And how can healing one person affect future generations?
This gets back to the basic message. When one loves themselves and others, when one heals themselves and starts on that frequency, you are all frequency beings. And many of you are just learning that you are frequency beings, that you create a glorious frequency. And you think, my aura is just a few feet. We would say, dear, dear, dear ones, if there is no space, if there is no time, think how when you raise your frequency, it doesn't just reflect out to you, your family, your neighborhood, your community, but to all that there is through the cosmos. Your frequency raises. And we would say, as you find that love and that peace within, this is how Earth creates love and peace. It's one soul at a time. One soul at a time. And do you bring in, for eons and eons, there was no other way to learn upon planet Earth, because the veil was so thick that the eon that you agreed to these patterns, you would take on these patterns that from your ancestors to heal. And so it was thick and you couldn't see across the veil. You couldn't remember that you agreed to bring on to these patterns in your DNA, these patterns that your soul wanted to heal. So for eons and eons, it has been done this way. But now during the time of the Great Awakening, we would say that is what we would consider less and less. It doesn't have to be that way. And so as those of you transition and go into fourth density in your next lifetime and your next and your next and your next, then those patterns will not be there. Those patterns that you brought forth and you said, I will transform them into love. Because as a fourth density being, you sit in love and you remember you are of love, you from love, and you know that you are not separate from all that there is.
Thank you. Very powerful. Is there a difference then between healing and becoming whole? And what does true wholeness really look like?
We would say true wholeness, of course, would look like being back home on the other side. So as you raise your frequency, you heal. As you heal, you raise your frequency. They work together. So shadow work, and we will remind everyone that is really what this topic is about, the healing, the energetic healing of raising the frequency, so you can learn to sit in peace and desire to sit in peace every moment of every day. So as you sit in peace freely, you know you are healed if you can sit in this peace 24/7. So you would think of those of the highest enlightenment as Buddha did, as Yeshua ben Joseph did, as Vishnu did. These are all examples across your globe of others who have this high frequency and who is whole. There are many others, by the way, but these are common names. So, and it is quite normal, we would say, it is quite normal for one to touch enlightenment and to feel like they sit in love and peace. And then let's say someone dies. And when someone dies, that will often, and we don't like to use the word death, we like to use the word rebirth. When a soul rebirths back home, that will often, the person who is left here, for one reason or the other, they'll grab on to that grief. And so that will bring their frequency down. So as that frequency down, then it's time to do healing. Then it is time to do healing. Healing is for most who want to raise the frequency and set enlightenment. Healing is for those who want to have peace in their heart and not lose it. It is for those who desire to hit fourth density and not come back in third density. It is not a requirement. You all have free will. It is perfectly okay for those who say, this healing stuff is not for me. Perhaps they wish to come back in third density. They don't even have to come back to this third density Earth. They can come back to a different planet that's in third density. They can stay across the veil in the cosmos and do other things if they so desire. But, and there's this caveat, think of DNA. Your soul desires to climb like a moth to the flame. That is why you return over and over again. You enjoy this game of life. And on the other side, you see how glorious, how precious it is. What a gift you give yourself. And it is that gift that you all are seeking. You are seeking to realize that you are not separate from the whole, that all that there is with you, in you, and through you. And once you realize you are not separate and that you are an integral part, think of your, one way we can describe this is think of this is an ancient teaching that many of your masters used. If you are a cell in the human body, and let's say your cell is to make sure the heart pumps well, and another cell, your neighbor, is to make sure that the liver functions. You both have an integral part in the body. One is not above the other. Without it, all that there is would be unfulfilled. And you all decided to come and to be a part of this great awakening, to come and to remember to love thyself, and to come and to find this soul path. And the soul path, we would like to remind all of you, is simply that path that you are passionate about. We say do that as often as possible. Your work is to discover your work, said the great Buddha. Your work is to discover your work. And once you discover your work, to give yourself fully to it. And to not think what others think of it, to not care what others are doing around you, but to devote yourself to that soul path. And we would say that is to raise your frequency, to be the light, to be the light.
Thank you. We spoke earlier in the show about karmic contracts and fulfilling them and awakening and such. And how is that in relation to who we were or who we are before the conditioning, or how do I say this? Who we were before with the conditioning, the wounds, the stories, and the identities we've accumulated throughout life. How is that in relation to these karmic contracts when they're set up and how we design them? Did I say that right?
It is quite simple. Let us remind you once again, you are an energetic being. And let's say you put out the frequency of dislike, of strong dislike when you were 20 years old, that strong dislike, that is going to vibrate back to you. Karmic energy really is the energy that does not serve you reflecting back to you. That's all karmic energy is. It's your own vibration reflecting back to you. Those energies that we talked about being on the DNA that you said, I will come in and I will overcome them. So for many, if you have alcoholism on your line, then you take it on and you say, I will overcome alcoholism. Or perhaps it's abuse. If you had in your soul family abuse, you said, you can leave that on there and I will come and I will overcome it. When you heal yourself from that abuse, when you heal yourself from that alcoholism, you heal your family line. You heal them. It is all now. It is all now. It is all now. So as you raise your frequency and those old patterns that you think are from your ancestors, which they're happening all now, you help them heal. You help others in parallel lives heal. You help your other selves, literally your other selves. And I'm talking about how you are made anew in each moment. Heal. We didn't answer this the way you thought we would go, but we want to see if you understood what we were saying.
Yeah, because, it's been brought up before. It's like when someone who is just realizing that they're going through something so hard for them, and we say, oh, well, you signed up for this. And they're like, well, why would I sign up for something like this?
That is different. So at the soul level, that is one. Think of it as one of the reasons why we sign up for patterns. Correct? One of the reasons you sign up for patterns. And when I say we, there are many of us still in fourth density finding the road of love. Our patterns may not be as holistic as yours because you are in third density. You have the poles, you have good and evil, where our patterns may involve like, love, so that's quite a more narrow band. So some of us are really still experiencing what you are experiencing. So at the oversoul level, these agreements are made that you will come in and you will experience patterns to grow, to overcome. So that in a timeline, if it was a timeline, your oversoul can see, oh, if you overcome this, then that puts your next incarnating, which is not, quote, you, but your dear brother or dear sister, depending on if you desire to come in as a male or female, or perhaps your oversoul knows that you're going to wait 1,000 years in time, because time doesn't really exist, right? So there's a destination point, and it is agreed upon which patterns that you will take for the growth that is the best benefit for you and for your oversoul as well. All that you do is a reflection of all that there is.
Beautiful. Off that topic for just a moment, we have a viewer by the name of Jason. He typed in, recently I have connected with my past father's spirit. I believe he has been attached to me. Are there any messages for me? Is he the only one attached?
We would say attached, not in the way you're thinking. So you are your own entity. You are your own soul. Your father is, yes, is with you, but not attached. So your energy, we would like to say, is your energy, and your father is constantly checking on you, constantly seeing where you are and where you're headed. Your father is learning in this way about you, your life, and he's also learning how he can do things different in his next incarnation. Do you have any other one attached to you? No. As a soul, you do not have other souls attached to you. You do have other family members that will come in and out and check on you, will come in and out and be with you. And so through your synchronicities, if it is by feel, so often people think, oh, I can feel my parent, I can feel my father, therefore he's attached to me. No, that is your intuition. That is your guidance from your soul, letting you know that your father is present. And there is something about forgiveness. We won't unwrap all your presents here, but your father has simply said it is forgiveness is one of the things that it is forgiveness and love. Forgiveness and love, great love. He comes with great love. So, of course, he says he is well, he is well, he is well. And so those are the messages from your father. It is simple. He comes with great love for you, wants you to know he is well, and some earth business that he asks you for forgiveness for. It is that simple.
Thank you. I hope that helps, Jason. Cynthia, do you have any questions that you would like to ask Xand?
Yeah, I would just, do you have advice for the people you had talked about, us raising our vibration, which I think is a great suggestion, but maybe you can give us some suggestions on how we could do that, how we raise our vibration. There's
So on this planet, we say there are many, many, many tools, many, many, many aids to raise your frequency. So we would say the most simplest and true, and we don't just talk about planet Earth. We talk about throughout the universe, for that is who we are. Okay, throughout the universe, the most basic of basic, how to raise your vibration is to follow that path that gives you joy, that path to find something that you love to do and follow that path like it was on fire. We call it the energy stream, to follow the positive energy stream within your own soul, within your own light. There is nothing more than you need to do. You do not need to know all this healing business, but if you do and you go down that route, it will help assist raise your frequency faster and faster and faster and faster. And it almost becomes a game in the sense that, ooh, that healing raised my frequency, I'll do it again. And ooh, that healing raised my frequency. It's fun. You're on Earth. Have fun, have fun, have fun, have fun. So how do you raise the frequency? Yes, through fun, but through that positive energy stream. And once again, we remind the listeners why we say positive. If it's something that can cause harm or negative, an example that we particularly love to give is if you love race car driving. Race car driving is illegal on the streets. And you came and said, I will be part of the community. I will be part of this planet. I will play by the game rules. Racing a car against another car on a public road normally is not legal and can cause harm. So, but that is your love. So you find a racetrack and you find ways to let that dream come true. For that is you. For that is you. And you are doing that one thing that you said you would come to do like no other. There is no other race car driver on the planet like you. So follow your positive energy stream. That will get you there the quickest. And while you're at it, you can have fun. You can embrace healings, all these beautiful aids that you have to raise your frequency. Play is a glorious way to raise your frequency. Laughter, dance, all these things that are positive. Those are things that will help bring your frequency up.
Awesome. One last question, and I think it'll end us off on a really good note. And I'll answer a question. We had kind of touched on the importance of being open to surrender. In spiritual terms, what does surrender actually mean? And why is it difficult yet important to be able to surrender spiritually?
So we would say if it's difficult for you, there is your language, dear one. So watch the language. Surrender just means to allow. So we would say flip the word surrender. Surrender was good when it needed to be. But now in this day and age, surrender means really two things: to allow, and to go with the flow. So as soon as you put up resistance, you are no longer surrendering to what is. So life is life, and it will mirror back to you. So to stay out of the going up current, you just go with the stream. And as you allow life to naturally unfold, instead of thinking surrender has to do with you do A and you expect B. Surrender is often when you don't surrender, it's being attached to the outcome. It's being attached to the outcome. So true surrendering is letting go of the outcome. Letting go of the outcome. That is probably the most simplest way we can explain it to you. So when you surrender, you do things out of great love, and how it is, and you have no attachment to the outcome. And we would say this has been taught since your earliest languages on the planet. So you can look for it. You can look for it in all the ancient texts like the Vedas and the Samaritans.
Wonderful. Thank you. We did have one quick question just pop in, and I know we'll have to be going here in just a few minutes, but if I can throw this one out to you, it would be great. Thank you, Xand. This listener says, I've started having spirits come to me lately when I am talking to people. How do I get better at this?
So we would say if they don't necessarily welcome it, then no, it's for your own benefit, for your own growth. So for instance, if you are grocery shopping and you begin to see spirit around people in the store, unless you know that person, that can be kind of shocking or rude. And their path is their path. If you wish to say, hey, I see spirit and I notice someone's around you, then you can start a conversation, or anyhow you feel comfortable with starting that conversation. So we would say to always, when you see spirit, to check in your heart, to go into that space to drop down into the heart space and ask, are you of love and light and light and love? And if you say it to yourself, you don't have to say it out loud. You don't have to look funny in the grocery store. And if you get a yes, then you might mention it if you feel comfortable and the other person feels comfortable, if it's in a grocery store, or if you're doing a session where you're talking to other people that are awake, then go ahead and feel free to speak your heart and to speak what it was that you received.
Sam, thank you so much. We always are truly grateful for everything that you have to tell us. We appreciate you.
We are so grateful for all of you. We are so grateful. We come with love and light, and it is our honor. It is our honor to be here. This is a privilege for us to be here. And we would like to say we love you all so very much, so very unconditionally. Okay. They're a little louder, I think, than I am. Thank you, Xand. I love you.
We're quite big energy today. Starting off was amazing. It's just quite big.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So thank you, Xand. I love you. We need to close, but I would like to do a really quick breath work for all of us as we close. We'll do this breath work together for all our listeners, just to take a deep breath in, to go into this heart space, and to think of a joyful thought, whatever joyful thought comes into you. And for me right now, I'm just so full of love and gratitude for this opportunity. And so whatever it is for you, and this is how I want you to leave here today. Just that wonderful thought, whatever you can think of for you that helps you raise your vibration. So that's it. Thank you for joining us so much. Thank you, Cynthia, so much for being our guest today. I have no words, Katie and Charlie. You're my team. Love you. Okay.
Too much fun.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the Soul Navigators Podcast. And we hope today's journey supports you in your own awakening and connection to one consciousness. If this episode resonated, we'd love for you to follow the show and share it with someone who would benefit from this work. To go deeper, visit soulnavigators.academy, and you can find all of my books on Amazon. Until next time, remember, we're walking this path together.